Hi there, you're at the Bitcoin Wyckoff technical analysis session, and we'll quickly look at both weekly and daily time frame and see where the Bitcoin is entering the adjustment period finally. So here, this is the weekly chart, and you see these rainbow key levels if you're new to this session. Previously we basically covered two different Wyckoff scenarios. So two possible scenarios over here. One is the blue set of tags, the other one is the yellow. Both are distribution cycle. The key difference is sometimes we observe during the PSY period that the price would fluctuate. So instead of the blue scenario where we consider the buying climax happened in March, in the yellow scenario, the buying climax actually happened back in December last year. So that's the major difference. So there's some timing gap between the two scenarios. So back to where we are now, the key thing over here is this candle this week. Especially, there's only a little bit less than 2 days left. If the candle closes outside of this light blue box, this box has been the upward channel, the upward playground zone of Bitcoin since as early as March. So basically in March, the price entered this trading zone, and in candlestick pattern analysis terminology, this is a bear flag. So right now it seems like it's finally exiting the flag or the zone. So after 5 months, we're finally seeing something that may bring Bitcoin to test the support. So there are 3 key supports to consider. One, if the price really closes outside of this box and continue to adjust downwards, the first key level is the purple. That's around 104K. You see this purple over here, right? So that's the first one. The second one, if it comes further down, that's the bottom edge of the bigger upward channel. So this pink box, this bigger upward channel, started as early, well, if we count, it started as early as at the late stage of the accumulation cycle. Or you can just consider the PSY period, meaning basically November, December last year. So if I cut it short to make it clearer, so if I exclude the PSY period, buying climax was the first point that it reaches the top edge of this channel box or the upward zone. And then the sign of weakness, the second sign of weakness back in September, and then eventually this upthrust in the blue scenario or the buying climax in the yellow, and the automatic reaction from the peaks over there. So this one here, what I'm trying to say is it's over the past 6 weeks, you see these candles aren't going all the way to the top to challenge the top edge of the pink box, whereas back in April last year, December last year, both times these peaks challenged the top edge over there. So there were very high demand and potentially anticipation about what the US or the administration or regulators around the world are going to do to relax some restrictions on Bitcoin. So that's all those waves and FOMOs got in already. And this time, this peak hasn't gone there yet, and it's already kind of falling outside of this upward trend, this blue box. Ideally, it should close within the box and continue with this uptrend until it tests the ceiling of the pink box. So hopefully when the candle closes this week, there's still a bit of time left. It doesn't close outside of this box, so I have to adjust this tighter just to make sure it only covers the wicks. So as of now, is pretty marginal. So maybe it's going to fall outside during the weekend. So we have to be very careful. But then, as always, there are fake bear or like all the fake moves trying to fake people into putting in bear or like put orders. So be very careful with that one, even though if it falls outside of this channel. So the other thing is the stages of Wyckoff. If we have already seen either the upwards or outwards of the distribution, then next when it comes down, that obviously isn't an LPSY yet, there would be a little dip. We don't know how deep it is yet. I already mentioned the purple key level and the pink bottom edge key levels. So it may go down to those levels and then rebound. That's when the LPSY appears. So it's not an immediate thing. It may take a few weeks or even 2-3 months. And then sign of weakness even further. So that's making the assumption that it's a mild drop with a bit of rebound along the way. If it doesn't, if it is a very sharp drop, so you see this a few weeks of slight downwards and then suddenly chopping down, if it really exhibiting those behavior, then that's when the sign of weakness may appear sooner instead of having an LPSY in between. So anyway, the level of the sign of weakness would be at 74K, this light blue key level over here. That's plus the volume here, it has been pretty stable. This long wick over here, quite some selling, but not very crazy compared to what we had during March. So hopefully the bulls can still defend this bottom edge of the upward channel and let the candle stay within or close within this box and eventually challenge the top edge of the pink box. So if it really is following this channel box, this blue one, and edges to the top, that means any time between, well, if it really goes very crazy, it can be very soon, but assuming it's going to linger along the bottom edge of the box, much like what happened over the past few weeks or even 2 months now, then the latest it would reach this angle over here, that's around late November, early December time. So let's see whether that would happen eventually, or is it really dying down because of lack of demand from the market. So quickly check the Keltner squeeze. Currently there's no squeeze happening. So by means of squeeze, it means the orange curves, these smoother curves, are bracketing this staircase like purple color curves. So last time it kind of briefly happened, not completely engulfing the purple. The price shot up and almost 2 times. And then here there was a longer period of squeeze back in July to October last year. And then that's when we had this leg upwards and then eventually come back down to where we were. One thing, if you're new to this signal, it's not always going up. It can squeeze towards the downside as well. But as of this moment, in the weekly chart, we don't see a squeeze yet. So it may take a week or two to further develop. Let's go to the daily chart. Here, in the daily, last time we asked the questions like, is the daily chart going to show us an upwards of the distribution, an LPSY, or an SOW? So the SOW has happened. So this was at similar level as the AR2. So I named the AR2 automatic reaction 2 just to differentiate this automatic reaction that corresponds to the upthrust, while the first automatic reaction corresponds to the buying climax. So here we have seen the last 2, actually 3 days before yesterday, all of them closed outside of the upward channel. Yesterday, the bulls tried to push it back towards the upward channel that we talked about. So hopefully the bears won't be successful pushing the price down again. So that's a very fierce battle happening right now, that the bulls are trying to defend this uptrend so as to push the price towards the ceiling of the pink box or pink trading channel. So one key thing over here, you might have already noticed when I talk about this in the weekly chart, this wedge over here, that's an upward wedge, and in candlestick analysis, upward wedge means a bearish sign, meaning there is a chance if the price really continues with the uptrend and edges along this wedge, it may eventually enter this narrow corner, and it has to come either above the pink, and the other option is just to fall outside of this upward channel. And in the candlestick textbook definition, the likelihood of going to the downside is higher than towards the upside. So that's the upward wedge. So that's a bit of the daily picture. Just quickly check the corner squeeze again, switching off the other drawings. So here we're seeing the purple already touching the orange, and this one is quite close as well. So in the next few days, if the price continues to trade in narrow range, a squeeze will once again happen. So a very close squeeze just happened around the 12th, middle of the month, and then the price dropped. That's when that happened. And then the squeeze over here as well, it went down a bit, but then eventually it rebounded to what I call the second test. Some people may consider that already an upthrust of the distribution, but because the price level is so close to the upthrust, I take a second test over here just to assume that it's a tentative phase, and if it really comes down, then it doesn't matter, we can call this upthrust of the distribution or second test, because you know either upthrust or upthrust of the distribution are basically tests after the buying climax to see how high the demand in the market is. So back to here, given the volume bars, what the volume bars are showing, the selling and buying, meaning the bulls and the bears, are pretty much equal power. Today the volume is pretty low. Probably they have been tired fighting for the last few days, and people want to take a break during the weekend, but don't let yourself off guard and leave open orders without a stop loss, because over the past few weekends, quite significant price move has happened. So even if there's no squeeze now, the squeeze can appear as soon as in a day or two, given the lines aren't very far, especially the bottom edge has already been touching. So I would say, if the big picture perspective, the price is trying to come down for finding a support. Not sure whether it will become a head and shoulder scenario. So that's what it looks like right now. Very like edgy or rugged shape, but then it still has a form of that going on. So if that happens, that means the LPSY really would go here, and then eventually the price would come down for the sign of weakness. Hope my guess is wrong, because I'm sure a lot of bulls would follow some predictions saying the price should head to 135 or even 140k. That you can tell from this chart as well, like this range over here, 135 to even 148, is still within this wedge. So before falling outside of the wedge, that entire range is still possible as long as this price is still continuing within this upward channel box. So finger crossed for the bulls, but don't be surprised if it comes down to or for